Sir, after the child, if both parties are married to each other, then what can child get right to property to his father?
I am not getting your question. Repeat again.
Sir, after the child, if both parties have married to each other in living relationship, then
हिंदी में बोल दो भाई।
हाँ, हिंदी में बोल दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, नो प्रॉब्लम।
सर, अगर थी बच्चा होने के बाद लिव इन में अगर पार्टी दोनों शादी कर लेते हैं तो क्या बच्चे को राइट मिलेगा प्रॉपर्टी का?
देखो, बच्चा तो पैदा हुआ पहले
Yes,
जब वो लिव इन रिलेशनशिप में थे, ये प्रश्न है आपका
सर।
है?
सर,
बच्चा तो लिव इन रिलेशनशिप में पैदा हुआ है ना?
यस
और शादी बाद में हुई है
जी।
हाँ, तो लेजिटिमेटाइज करने का कोई तरीका नहीं है, क्योंकि लेजिटिमेसी ऑलरेडी बच्चे को दी गई है और बच्चा जो पैदा हुआ वो लिव इन रिलेशनशिप में ही पैदा हुआ है और उसको लिव इन रिलेशनशिप का ही बच्चा माना जाएगा, क्योंकि बाद में मैरिज की गई है, बटलाक बाद में क्रिएट किया गया है, तो वो बच्चा लिव इन रिलेशनशिप का होगा और पेरेंट्स की प्रॉपर्टी में वो इनहेरिट करेगा, दूसरे रिश्तेदारों की प्रॉपर्टी में इनहेरिट नहीं करेगा।
सर,
हाँ, हेलो
सर, अगर
हाँ, बताइए। अच्छा, ये जो बड़े वाले गेट के पास जो है जहाँ टेम्पो खड़े, एक्चुअली सम पर्सन है। बोले,
there was a Hindu undivided family and there was a property, but so the partition has been made. Sir, if there were ancestral property and so the partition was also partition property which the father would have got, and on the death of father, so that property would have gone to the co-partner, so the father's son. And sir, in this case, this property would be ancestral property or state property. And because if it be a property, then live in relationship or
your voice is not clear actually. Tell in Hindi what you want to say.
सर, अगर एक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी है हिंदू फैमिली की थी सर, उसका पार्टीशन हुआ है, पार्टीशन होके फादर को प्रॉपर्टी मिल रही है और फादर के बाद सर वो पार्सल को मिल जाती है उसके सन को। सर, ये जो प्रॉपर्टी ली है सर, ये स्पेसिफिक प्रॉपर्टी में डील होगी या फिर एंसेस्टर प्रॉपर्टी डील होगी?
ना, ये तो एंसेस्टर पर मैंने एंसेस्टर प्रॉपर्टी, उसका अगर बच्चा भी है, सपोज द पर्सन हु इज गेटिंग द शेयर बाय पार्टीशन, सपोज ही हैज a son and grandson also, they have also the right to go get by right by birth share in that property.
Yes, so sir, that was the sir,
and if there is no any other co-partner, if he is the sole surviving co-partner, no son, no grandson,
then the property will be
self-acquired,
and it will revive. It will revive as the son's son is born as property.
Naturally, this is.
But the Supreme Court has also. Sir, Supreme Court has also taken different stand on this because I have a very divergent view on this point, sir.
No, but Supreme Court decisions are clear on this point. I am knowing well.
Sir,
so long as the sole surviving co-partner is here, so the property will be self-acquired. The moment any son is born, again it will be converted into the ancestral property. The concept is very clear.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
And sir, this Bharat Mata judgment, sir, which you have told, sir.
1 minute. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
sir,
now,
sir,
bole.
Case which you yesterday told, sir, that Bharata Mata case, sir, where it was came back, sir. Sir, I went through the judgment, sir, and it was nowhere written this. In fact, sir, the event itself quoted a very this case of SPS Balasubramaniam 1992 Supreme Court, it categorically has said that court held that if man and woman are living the same for a number of years, 1/4 of the evidence act that they live as husband and wife and children born to them will not be legitimate. Is that this particular case itself was quoted in that judgment, and in fact, judgment was denied in this case was the people who was aggrieved party, that person was not able to prove that the property was actually a self-made property. So it was in that respect the judgment was given against.
No, judgment is very clear. Go through again. And what is written in Bharat Mata Mandir? Bharat Mata case, not Mandir, Bharat Mata case. The judgment is clear. And here judgment is pointing out that if any child born out of the live-in relationship, he has no property right. But later on this case, the name of the case I have pointed out yesterday.
Vidyadhari.
Vidyadhari case. In this case, actually, the decision came, and the child born from the live-in relationship, he was made entitled to get the property only from the parents. It is very much
case of 2008. This Bharat case is 2010.
Sir, with this Vidya case is case of 2008, and the Bharat Mata case is 2010.
Yes.
So how can it override?
But some of the MP High Court judgment was categorically written that the aspect for this case is certainly Bharata Mata case, and that in MP High Court the judgment and gave the verdict, said that because it wasn't overridden by any larger bench, so this is legal and the courts will follow this.
आवाज़ नहीं आ रही है
Sir,
voice is not clear. Voice is not clear. Now I am opening judgment. And here this is Vidyadhari case. It is very categorical, and here it has been pointed that they are the children born out, they are the legal heirs. And so far as the Bharat Mata and this Rivansh Dappa case, in this case actually both the cases are decided on the same line, and here the concept which is taken, that the concept is taken that marriage is not having any live-in relationship, having no any bondage of the marriage, and so no any bondage of the marriage, therefore the children is not entitled to any property right. Are you getting my voice or not? Are you getting my voice?
yes, sir. Can you read your para 22 of the Bharata judgment, sir?
Okay, if you go through even it is also written by the Paras Diwan. Go through the page number 126.
Sir,
28.
but sir, even the acts are mentioning the opposite thing. In the Bear Act, Asian Book Company Bear Act is mentioning the opposite is written Paras Diwan. And what you have told us certainly in line with what I have read in the particular case at number 20. So court mentioned specifically the case of S. Khulbu versus.
Actually, I am not getting your voice clear. I am not getting your.
सर जो पारस दीवान में लिखा है उसकी ऑपोजिट लिखा है बेयर एक्ट में सर. अगर आप पेज 32 देखें ईबीसी का, तो उसमें भी यही जजमेंट कोर्ट है, लेकिन वो ऑपोजिट बात कर रहा है एकदम. वो ये नहीं कह रहा है कि लिव इन रिलेशनशिप में जो बच्चा पैदा हुआ है वो इलेजिटिमेट है.
इलेजिटिमेसी की बात नहीं है यहाँ राइट ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस की बात है.
यस सर, उसके अपोजिट, क्योंकि सर बेयर एक्ट में जो लिखा है उसमें लिखा है कि a child born of void or voidable marriage is not entitled to claim inheritance in ancestral co-parcenary property but is entitled only to claim a share in self acquired properties. तो सर ये तो फिर अपोजिट हो गया ना, 16(3) का बेनिफिट तो मिल रहा है ना उस बच्चे को। ये सर भारत माता वाले जजमेंट ही है, ये बेयर एक्ट में लिखा हुआ है सर।
बेयर एक्ट कहाँ तक सही है कह पाना बड़ा मुश्किल है ना, बेयर एक्ट कहाँ तक सही है कह पाना मुश्किल है। और अगर ऐसी डिस्क्रिपेंसीज है तो आई विल रीड अगेन थ्रू ओरिजिनल केसेस एंड वी कैन वेरी वेल गेट इट।
भारत केस अभी सुप्रीम कैटेगोरिकली चीज बोली थी कि जजमेंट इस फेवर में इसलिए दे रहे हैं बिकॉज दैट पर्सन हैज नॉट बीन एबल टू प्रूव दैट प्रॉपर्टी इज नॉट एन एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी सॉरी। कोर्ट ने प्रिज्यूम किया कि वो एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी जजमेंट गेट्स में दिया था, बट दे वर वेरी मच श्योर कि the illegitimate child or the child born out of a live-in relationship are pretty much legitimate and they will certainly get the right if they would have proven that the property is a self-made property. Property.
Actually, what you are arguing, that is a different one. So let us actually, we shall discuss tomorrow. I also want to see the original case of the Bharat Mata. What is the ratio which is written? Because only on your argument I'll accept it, unless and until I go through the original case. And it is very easy to get the original cases because here all the cases are being loaded. So firstly, I want to go with the original cases, then I will tell that what proposition is laid down in Bharat Mata case. Okay. But one thing is very clear, and that is, here, so far as legitimacy is concerned, it is different issue. But so far as inheritance is concerned, it is different one. I am talking about only inheritance issue, not legitimacy issue. Okay? So now we shall discuss tomorrow. And I will also see that what proposition of law laid down in Bharat Mata case. Now, today, I want to discuss this desertion as a ground of divorce. And we have already started the discussion in the last lecture. Here I have pointed out there are the 4 theories regarding the divorce. And the first I take up, that is the fault theory. And under that fault or the guilt theory, there is the first ground which I was discussing yesterday, that was the desertion. Desertion, I have also given one case. The name of the case was Bipin Chand versus Prabhavati. This is the decision of the Supreme Court. And moreover, here the proposition laid down by the Supreme Court is very clear. The proposition is that factum of separation and animus diserendi both should be proved, then only this case will fall under the category of the desertion. If one element is lacking, then naturally this is not the desertion. And here in Prabhavati case, Bipin Chand versus Prabhavati, animus part was lacking. Therefore, the Supreme Court was very categorical on this. The second case I want to put before you, it makes the subject more clear, particularly 2 elements, factum of separation and animus diserendi. Here the second element, second case, that is known as a Lakshman versus Meena. This is again the decision which is being given by the Supreme Court. And this decision is of 1964. Here actually the marriage was taken place. After the marriage, here wife again joined the husband's joint family. And husband joint family consisting of his parents and the 2 sisters. And later on, it is very important fact that the wife has left the husband's family, in order to look after the business of the parent of her own. Actually, the parents of the wife that were affluent person, they have their business, and the business were actually spreading throughout the Southeast Asia. So she was like leaving the matrimonial home in order to take care of that business. When she was leaving the India, she went to the Pune, and from Pune, she also came in Bombay, where the husband's house was there. But he did not make any plan to meet with the child and also to meet with the husband. One thing more important here, out of that marriage, one child was also born. But in this case, actually, wife was not interested, neither interested in the husband nor the child, because she stayed at the Bombay and she never tried to meet with the husband or the child. Here, actually, some sort of indirectly, husband has made some sort of charges against the wife regarding her character. Husband constantly pursuing the wife that she should return back to the matrimonial home, but always she was arguing that her health did not permit. When the health will permit, naturally he will come back and join. And when the period of statutory period 2 years has elapsed, the husband has filed the petition for the divorce on the ground of the desertion. In this case, the fact which was being projected before the court, that fact was different than the fact of Bipin Chand versus Prabhavati. Here in this case, the intention of the wife was very clear. She left matrimonial home. This is factum of separation which came out from the fact. And the second thing also being established, and this was that in intention of the wife. Here the intention of the wife can be inferred from the circumstances of the case. Here neither she had taken any care of the husband nor she had taken any care of child. And when the husband was regularly writing the letter, she was only arguing in a different way, taking the plea that her health does not permit her to return back. When her health will be sound, naturally she will return back. So that is very important part. Here actually the Supreme Court has drawn the inference from the fact and comparing this case with the Bipin Chand versus Prabhavati, where the intention was lacking, but in this case, the intention of the wife was very clear. She never interested to return back. In spite of all the persuasive efforts made by the husband, in spite of some allegations which was being made against her character by the husband, wife did not turn up. Therefore, the Supreme Court has pointed out here both elements are present, factum of separation as well as animus diserendi. Therefore, this is a clear case of the desertion. And in this case, matrimonial relief was being granted in form of the divorce decree. The case I want to put before you, this is also the Supreme Court decision, and the name of the case is that Rohini versus Narendra Singh. Here, the parties were married again here in 1945, Rohini versus Narendra Singh. The marital relationship went up to 1947 very smoothly. 2 years. But one day, the wife had packed up her all the dresses and left the husband's house. Here the petition was actually being filed by the husband, and the petition was filed for the judicial separation. The ground for judicial separation as well as the divorce is the same. Here the argument of the wife was that when she was in husband's house, she was badly treated, and she also argued that she had heart trouble, which was only due to cause of the husband's behavior, and father-in-law means husband's father, advised her to go to her parents' house. So by this argument, the wife want to establish that this is actually due to the behavior of the, she was compelled to leave the house of the husband. One important fact also came, and that fact was that when this enactment was coming in 1955, one day before that enactment, the husband undergo for another second wife. He undergo for the marriage and he took the second wife. In spite of that, this was not taken very seriously by the first wife. All these facts actually, these all facts, they are actually indicating that this is a clear case where the wife has left the house of the husband, and the wife has also intention not to return back, because once the second marriage was being solemnized, she was very well aware of this fact, but she never bothered about that. So intention of the wife was very clear. So this is another case which is also on the desertion. Now I am proceeding towards another case on the desertion, and the name of the case is Geeta Jagdish Mangtani versus Jagdish Mangtani. This is the case of the 2005 Supreme Court. Here again, the wife had deserted the husband after the marriage, and this desertion was made within after 7 months from the date of the marriage. The ground for the desertion from the side of the wife was that husband had no sufficient income to maintain her. Therefore, she left the company of the husband. She gave the birth of the child also later on. She made no attempt to rejoin the husband, and since she was a teacher, she continued with her job. Here actually in this case, again the proposition which is laid down by the Supreme Court, and the proposition is required to be analyzed. So far as the income of the husband, which was alleged by wife that the income was insufficient, the Supreme Court has pointed out that wife was aware of this fact. She was aware of this fact earlier. In spite of all, she decided to marry with that fellow. So why not? She had taken into consideration of the income of the husband at the time when the marriage was being solemnized. So this is Another case, and here the decision of the Supreme Court is very clear. Supreme Court also propounded this is the exact case of the desertion. Wife had left the husband's house. Allegation was very clear. She did not intended to return back. So it means intention is as clear. Therefore, this is a case of the desertion. Now I am coming to the another case, and the name of the case is Jagannath versus Krishna. Jagannath versus Krishna. This is actually decision which is very interesting. There is one institution, and that institution I think that you are all knowing well, Brahma Kumari Ishwari Vishwavidyalaya. This is actually one of the center where some sort of training was being given for the meditation. Wife joined the institution and declared herself as a Brahma Kumari. Now once she became the Brahma Kumari, then the relationship with the husband was not possible for her to continue, because once she became the Brahma Kumari, marital obligations she could not fulfill. This has also been one case, and the court is very clear on this count that this is also a clear case of desertion. So by that way, we are able to establish one thing. What is that? Here for desertion, all these cases actually which I just put before you, these all cases are on the desertion. And this is actually desertion on actual desertion. For the actual desertion, the court has pointed out two essential. One is factum of separation, another is the animus diserendi. If both elements are here, naturally, the case will be fit for desertion. If any of the element is not present, then the case cannot be called as a case of the desertion. So, this is one way I want to point out that these are the one way or one kind of desertion. Another kind of desertion is being called as constructive desertion. And in constructive desertion, what happens? Parties, they are not actually leaving the company or the house of the others. They are living together. They are parties, means husband and wife, they are living under the one roof. Here they are not having a very good relationship as a husband and wife. So here what is essential for the marriage? It has been pointed out in all the cases, it is not essential that they should live under one roof. What is obligation under the marriage? The obligation under the marriage is cohabitation. If the parties, they are cohabiting with each other, naturally, this is the sole objective of the marriage. So in spite of the fact that parties, they are living under one roof, it is not sufficient. If they are not cohabiting with each other, if they have no relationship of husband and wife. So this is called as the constructive desertion. And here the cases I want to put before you in relation to constructive desertion. The cases are Savitri Pandey versus Premchand Pandey. This is Supreme Court judgment. And this is 2002 judgment, where actually the Supreme Court made clear that what desertion means. the Supreme Court has pointed out desertion means withdrawal from matrimonial obligations and not withdrawal for the place. That is very important component which is made by the Supreme Court. Here desertion means what? Desertion means that is withdrawal from matrimonial obligation. It is not withdrawal from the place. If the party withdraw from the cohabitation, then sufficient for the desertion. Here, there are so many examples which are also given in different textbook. You can get it. That parties, they are living together under same roof, having no talking terms. They agreed that they will talk only about the children. They will not talk about themselves. So these are the cases which is being pointed out that here the cohabitation is lacking. Here cohabitation is lacking. And once the cohabitation is lacking, then this is the case of the constructive desertion. Because objective of the marriage is that parties should live together. One more case I want to put before you, and this case is actually very old case, and this case is not under the Hindu Marriage Act, but the case is under Marriage Act. You may argue that since the case is not under the Hindu Marriage Act, then why we are taking the reference of it? The matter is very clear. Since under the Special Marriage Act, the same ground also mentioned desertion. Therefore, this case is also very relevant. And moreover, this case will throw the light on the constructive desertion. What is the actual meaning of the constructive desertion? Because in Savitri Pandey case, here the Supreme Court has only laid down the principle. But by the case, how the desertion will come out, you can only get from this case, and the name of the case is Jyotish Chand versus Meera. This is Calcutta High Court decision, very old decision, 1970. Still, it is very relevant for the constructive desertion. In this case, actually, the parties, they were married in 1945. After marriage, the wife joined the company of the husband. Wife aberrament was that she found husband as a cold, indifferent, and sexually abnormal, perverse. This is the aversion from. This was the aversion from the side of the wife. That husband was cold, indifferent, sexually abnormal, and perverse. Shortly after the marriage, the husband left the wife in India and went to England for business purposes. And wife also returned back to her study, and she continued her MA and preparing the examination, appear examination and pass out. When the husband returned back, on initiative of the husband, the wife went to foreign country for the PhD degree. She stayed there from 1948 to 51. In this period, she visited 2 times to the husband, but her aberrament was that when she visited, she found that husband was more cold. After completing the PhD degree, the wife returned back from England to India. She stayed some time at her parent house, and thereafter she joined the company of the husband. The wife actually argued again that she was suffering from mental agony because the behavior of the husband was the same he was abnormal, coming late in night, not spending time with the wife. So after that, she decided to continue her career and she applied in Calcutta University for lecturership. She got this lecturership, and after getting the job, she continued to live with the husband, but he observed the behavior of the husband that he was a very indifferent, and she got one point that husband was always in the habit of the physical torturing. So that's why her life was very misery. She also got one point that husband also wanted that she should not live with him but live anywhere else. So she decided to take the house on rent and she shifted in a different house. When she was staying in the different house, the parent of the wife, particularly the father, he tried his best to make a compromise in between the husband and wife. One day, in order to make a compromise, father of the wife went to the husband's house, but he was being misbehaved. Husband misbehaved the father. Her sister was also accompanied with her. Husband also misbehaved with the sister of the wife. And there was one stick which was in the hand of the husband, and he tried to struck by that stick to the father. But due to interference from the side of the wife's sister, he could not succeed. So actually this was the case which was being. Now when the compromise was being failed, husband was very angry. He put two offers to the wife, either to file the petition for divorce or to go for Mandalay and live there where his father was living. So actually these two options were put by the husband to the wife. Now moreover, here the decision which is made by the Calcutta High Court, that is very important. Calcutta High Court here very clear on the point. No doubt the case is being filed by the wife for the desertion, but actually who is the guilty of desertion? Whether the wife was the guilty of desertion? The court pointed out no. Actually the behavior of the husband compelled the wife to leave the company of the husband. Therefore here actually wife was lesser guilty. We can say wife was not on the part of the guilt, but husband was on the part of the guilt. Therefore, on the basis of the desertion, constructive desertion, this case is being decided. So this is the Calcutta High Court decision, and this case is very relevant. Why? In spite of the fact that the case is on the Special Marriage Act, but without the reference of this case, it is not possible to discuss the constructive desertion, because husband and wife both are living together in the same roof. Behavior was very different one. The relationship between the husband and wife was not as the relationship of the husband and wife. Since the relation was not very sound, therefore, the Calcutta High Court passed the decree and found that actually this is the behavior of the husband which is responsible. This is the behavior of the husband which is responsible for the desertion, and wife is not actually guilty of that. So this is another case which is on the constructive desertion. After that, another case I want to put, why not cruelty taken into consideration? Here actually if you go through the original case, you will get that here petition was being filed on the both ground. Wife had alleged not only the desertion but cruelty also. But since we are discussing the topic of desertion, therefore I am not taking into consideration of the cruelty part. But here the petition was being filed by the wife on both the count. And decision which was given, it was given on the point of the desertion and cruelty both. Since we are discussing the desertion, therefore I am taking only that part. After that, another case I want to put before you. The name of the case is Shyamchand versus Janki. This is Himachal Pradesh High Court decision. Here again the husband filed a petition for judicial separation on the ground of wife's desertion. Wife in her reply stated that she was maltreated, beaten up, turned out of house by the husband. She was stating that husband kept wife at the village in Bedar, whereas the husband was living at Goras. And wife was also alleging that she was being kept in cow shed. Very meager food was being given. She was not allowed to meet with the child. So all the component taken into consideration, it has been pointed out that this is not a case of the desertion. Actually, the husband's behavior is responsible for the desertion. So therefore, here husband was not allowed to take the advantage of his own wrong. Husband has created actually these circumstances where the life of the wife became miserable. So this is another case which is on the constructive desertion, 23(1)(a), not 23(1). Now, similar case we have also. The name of the case is Anil Kumar versus Saif Ali. This is the decision of Calcutta High Court 1997. Here again, the wife was being forced to leave the house of the husband. Wife was being forced by the husband to leave the house of her husband, and after the leaving of the house by the wife, husband never tried to bring her back. Actually, in this case also there was no animus from the side of the wife. Husband petition for divorce also not granted. So these are also the cases where you can very well say that here the second element lacking, animus is not coming out either in the Janki case or in the Saif Ali case. Both were actually being compelled to leave the house of the husband. So these are the few cases which I want to put before you in order to explain the meaning of constructive desertion. So constructive desertion means actually the parties, they are not deserting so far as the house is concerned, but here lacking of a marital obligation. Therefore, the case are being covered under the constructive desertion. Now, another kind of desertion I have also pointed out. The name of that desertion is being called as a willful neglect. so far as the willful neglect is concerned, I have already pointed out that go through the provisions of the Hindu Marriage Act section 13(1), and in Hindu Marriage Act section 13(1), you will get explanation, and here in explanation you will get the meaning of the desertion, and very importantly, here the last 3 lines, what is written includes the willful neglect of the petitioner by a party to the marriage, and its grammatical variation and cognate expression shall be construed accordingly. It means that if there is a case of willful neglect, naturally this is also a kind of the desertion. Here the neglect must be willful. If the one party is not taking the care of another party willfully, ignoring the other party, then this is a clear case of the willful neglect. And the best example I can quote for willful neglect is Jyotish Chand versus Meera case, where actually the husband was not taking the care of the wife. He was, no doubt both were living together, but the husband was already guilty of so many misconducts. He was not also taking the care of the wife, and this is the clear case of the willful neglect. So here, so far as the grammatical meaning of willful neglect, it may differ. But from the circumstances, if the inferences are coming out that there is a willful neglect, then naturally this is the case of the desertion. So by that way, we are able to complete the kind of the desertion. There are 3 kinds of desertion. One is called as actual desertion, another is called as constructive desertion, and the third one is willful neglect. Now, by that way, we are able to deal the first 2 elements for the desertion. First 2 essential elements. What are these? The first essential element is factum of separation, and the second one, animus diserendi. So factum of separation and animus diserendi, if both are present, then only the case will fall under the category of desertion, otherwise the case will not be of the desertion. So I think that today I want to stop at this point, because 3 more elements have to discuss without any reasonable cause, without the consent, and the duration, that is 2-year duration. So tomorrow we shall discuss it. And
these 5 elements are also necessary for constructive desertion and willful neglect as well, or it is only necessary for actual desertion, sir?
देखिए, so far as desertions are concerned, desertion may be 3 kinds. Therefore, here all the 5 elements required to be present in all kind of desertion. It may be the desertion actual, it may be the constructive desertion, it may be willful neglect. But factum of separation should be there. That's why here the meaning of the factum of separation is being given by the court. Factum of separation doesn't mean leaving of place, but leaving of the cohabitation. So keeping this thing in our mind, factum of separation does not mean that one party has left the company of other. If the one party has not able to perform the marital obligation, then this is also called as leaving the party from the other. So all three elements required to be established in order to get the decree of divorce or judicial separation on the ground of desertion. Okay.